But
Yeah.
also the other side, I'm also looking for expansion. When I was down in Oklahoma for the to film the blocks, I
Yeah.
parlayed that trip into a second part of it was to go down to the Dallas Fort Worth area to take a look at some areas down there to see where there's possibility for expansion. So
Oh,
um,
that's really smart. Okay.
yeah, one of my goals would be I'd like to see by the end of this year having a second satellite location in the DFW Metroplex area, start to build up business down there. Um,
Yeah. And that
one
would
of
be a
the
lot less seasonal, right?
the idea is that, if I could find some guys that are down there,
Yeah.
really start to build the business down there, and then also be able to shuttle people from up here down, down south as needed in the wintertime and such. That's an opportunity.
That's pretty cool. I love that. So, in the spirit of, lessons learned, what kinds of things did you do at the beginning where, like, maybe you had some false starts, or do you know what I mean? Because it seems like you grew really organically. It
Right,
sounds like you do things a little bit like I do, which is I throw things at the wall to see what sticks and then go with
right,
that. Like,
right.
you know what I mean? So, do you have any stories like that?
That things didn't stick.
Yeah,
Oh, you know, I'm okay. So I'm kind of the opposite of risk adverse. You know,
me too. Me too.
throw something in my court, I'll say, sure, let's figure out a way to
Try it
make it work.
out.
Yeah, why not? So I bought a pressure washing business because I
Okay.
saw it as being a good value added service that we could, bring into our customer base and say, hey, we're striping your parking lots, but the concrete areas look terrible, your building has, all kinds of stuff. And I underestimated the market around here. It did come with a built-in customer base. So the business that I bought it from, they had an account with Aldi's, and they were doing 10 Aldi stores every month for as long as they could do it before the water froze. But
Wow. Okay.
problem the problem with pressure washing is it's a late evening and through the night kind of business. You can't do it during the day when people are around because you got hoses and you got vehicles and high pressure and such. So
Yeah. I
you
never
for
thought of that, but yeah.
yeah, so for safety purposes alone, you can't do it when people are around. So finding people and we do striping overnight and we do other services overnight also, but
Sure.
it's not like a mandatory thing specific for that. We can
You
do
could
weekends,
you could block it off and just
right?
get to it during the day.
Right. We could do
Yeah.
sections of the area when we're talking about the entire storefront or whatever that's being pressure washed. Well, that kind of limits what your abilities are during the day. So finding the personnel, and I had a couple people that started out really strong and then kind of faded off. And you realize quickly that the limitations exceeded the benefits.
Yeah.
Um, so I ended up selling that to somebody else after a couple years, and
Okay.
so we still offer that as a service, but we outsource it now. So
Interesting. Okay. So were you able to sell it to like a larger company or a kind of mid-sized
it,
company that was already doing the same thing?
yeah, they were doing window washing and such, and they were looking to get into the
Oh,
washing side of things.
okay.
So I sold it to them, and they ended up selling their company to a bigger company, and I think they might have gotten rid of pressure washing since, I
Oh
don't know,
my
but
gosh.
yeah, yeah. So it's it is a difficult business to be in. Especially in a market doesn't that undervalues the service.
Yeah.
If I was in closer to the Chicagoland area, we'd be busy all the time. But
Absolutely. I was gonna say, because have you seen these guys on TikTok doing the
oh
pressure
yeah,
washing? Like,
yeah,
oh my God, people love it. I love it.
sure. But
It's interesting to watch.
for a mid-sized service area, it's a lot harder to find the customer base that really sees the value. Most times you'll talk to we've got grocery store customers, and I thought that would be perfect. We've got
Yeah.
grocery store customers, we've got gas station owner customers,
Sure, sure.
and you thought, okay, those areas, the like people drop gum and they drop, it's just the traffic alone, just
Yeah.
everything looks dirty. And so I thought, oh, this was going to be perfect. And pretty much both of them were their philosophy as well. We've got the service guys that work for us that we have a pressure washer. Yeah, but you've got a cold pressure washer. We've got a hot water pressure washing system with 4,000 psi, 5 gallons per
Yeah.
minute. A lot more powerful than what you've got, and we're going to do a lot better job. And just
Right.
couldn't convince them. So
Oh, that stinks. Well,
yeah,
win some, lose some.
right, right. But it was a good it was a good lesson to because had I not done it, I wouldn't have known what was involved with it. And it's hard to
Right.
sell if you don't know how to do it.
Exactly. And now you have another offering that you don't have to do, right?
Right,
So you
right,
just, I don't know, then there's no labor attached. It's somebody else's problem,
right,
but you still get a little bit of the profit. That's
right,
cool.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What else? Do you have any other good ones for us? I know
Uh,
you
you know,
do because of the way you started. I know for sure you do.
well, we'll try things and then realize it's not really, we even though we might be good at it,
Yeah.
it's not something that I really want to do.
Yeah.
So we've had that with asphalt patching. I bought a hot box, 4-ton hot box that we could go pick up hot mix material, and we could I bought a saw, and I bought a couple of saws that you can walk behind, um, saws to cut the paving, and I bought some roller and compactor plates and all these things to do the work, and we
Yeah.
did great work. The problem
It
is we did
seems like it's really aligned with your business,
yeah, oh
but
yeah, no, it was fine. The problem is we did really good work, and you can't. It's hard to make money patching if you're doing really good work. I mean,
sure.
there's so like dumpster areas and the asphalt in front of dumpster areas and such. Usually, you get those ruts because of the garbage
Yeah.
truck heavy. Um, there's a couple of places where we've patched the dumpster areas 5, 6 years ago, and I've been out there recently at both of those places, and the asphalt is still looks great. And
That
so
is brilliant.
yeah, but the problem is, like I said, nobody wants to pay for that kind of service. They want it,
Yeah.
they'll find a guy that's going to do it cheap, and they'll just throw the
Right.
material in and roll it, and if it sags again in a couple of years, well then so be it. But
Yeah.
and then it's hot and nasty work, especially if a lot of it's summertime, so you're out doing stuff in the 95-degree heat, and the
Right.
asphalt 300 and some odd degrees when you
Right.
out of the back of the trailer, and nobody was happy doing it. And it was just one of those miserable things that everybody dreaded. So it's like,
Yeah.
why are we doing this? This is not our strong suit. One of the things it did teach me is to figure out what I'm good at and try to
Yeah.
stick with those things, because
Yeah.
that's where we're going to be the most profitable.
Sure. So which things have you decided like this is really my bread and butter? I'm gonna stick really close to
Yeah.
this.
Striping parking lots, especially restripes. When we do concrete filled pipes, bollards at the corners of buildings, or like we just did something at a trash corral to protect the structure itself.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, pipe
Okay.
bollards
I
we're
don't
good
know
at.
anything about that.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, it's basically a steel pipe that sticks out of the ground, and it protects the corner of the building, or
Oh,
corner of
sure. Sure, sure, sure.
those are called pipe bollards. Concrete curbs, wheel stops. We do a lot of those. Signpost installations, removing signposts, things like that. So that's kind of our bread and butter. The we have a service partner that we work with for seal coat.
Okay.
I've dabbled with trying to get my own crew. The problem with that is finding guys is you can find people, but you want them to show up sober, and remember that they're actually supposed to come to work that day, and and it's dirty, nasty work, and that's the problem, is that
Exactly.
you're going to get the guy that wants to really do a good job. He just wants to collect beer money a lot of times. So
Wow, yeah, that's tough. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's
yeah,
not,
but
it sounds like you could, and finding like good employees is the hardest part
that's
about running a
probably one of
small
my biggest
business.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest challenges is finding good qualified people. And the way I kind of get around that over the years, I've managed to find people. And a lot of times I find people that have no background in that, what they're doing, but they have an interest in learning. Okay.
They're
And so,
coachable.
yeah, yeah. And so, and some of it's understanding what that person needs. And I'm not the best
Yeah.
manager, but one of the things I've learned is, to give people as much, challenge them as much as they want to be challenged
Yeah.
and see how they come out.
Sure.
So I've got a decent, couple crews that, decent bunch of guys that, I pay well. I try to pay them, appropriately. We give benefits. I give
That's
bonuses.
great.
But, my philosophy is that, yes, this is my business, but I can't do everything. I have to rely on
No,
other people, and in order to make this a success, everybody has to be part of the team. And so,
absolutely.
yeah,
That's really nice. So would you say that that's your, that is your, you know, highest hurdle, finding good people to help out?
it's a huge challenge. I mean, it's, and as you expand, if I were to go into the DFW market, okay, I'd have no problem finding good qualified people. But you're in
Is
a
that right?
well, there's several million people to choose, in that community. So you're choosing from, a much bigger pool.
Sure.
When you're in an area where there's 250,000 in the MSA,
Yeah.
and 150 in the city proper itself, you're more limited.
Yeah.
And so, it's people that will tell you they want to work, but then,
They just want to check.
yeah, they want to, and a lot of it too. So it's a comprehension issue for people. It's like they know what you tell them, but they don't really hear what you tell them.